Hello there. Come on in, guys. Tonight we have a great live planned for you guys tonight. We're going to be having Monique Marsh. She is the owner of the Lash brand in Florida, and we are going to be talking about how to start your own lash brand business. So if you've been thinking about it, want to know what goes into it, that is going to be our topic for tonight. How to get started, what to look out for, vendors, all that type of stuff. So we have a really good live plan for you guys. And sorry that I'm running behind. I have been ripping and running since 4:30. And I was trying to get my son to my parents' house. And then I'm very close. He's asleep now. So I was like, let me just pull over and do the live now. Hopefully he stays asleep. So I will wait for our guests to join us. Hi guys, hope you're having a great night. Like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about how to start a lash brand business. So how to put your own lash brand. And yeah, I hope that you guys get a lot of value from this live. Be sure to ask any questions, send in your concerns, that type of stuff. So let me invite our guest up. Here we go. Oh my god. My son is a little sick, so I really hope he doesn't wake up while we're on this live, because he's been super clingy since he's not feeling the best. But yeah, so I'm excited to kind of go over all this. Monique, she's amazing. She is someone that I've been watching and kind of just, giving their flowers and their props to since I got into the industry. And she's been consistent, and I cannot wait to have this conversation with her. I'm going to invite her up. Hi, Monique.
Hi. Can you
How's
guys
it
hear
going?
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great, great, because the music is a little loud. So
Cool.
we
And girl,
finally,
my son, he fell asleep. So I was like, what's the point? Let me just pull over.
yes, yes, perfect timing, perfect timing.
I
Yes.
know. So yeah, I'm so excited for our conversation tonight. We get this question a lot. We have a lot of students. Some of our students already had lash brands before enrolling and that type of stuff. And then we do have the base of our audience is new lash artists. But let's start off with just like an introduction for yourself. If you can just introduce yourself, let people know a little bit about you, how long you've been in the industry, where you're located, what you specialize in.
Okay, so my name is Monique Marsh. I have been a lash artist for 6 years, an educator for 4, and a company owner for almost 2. So that's just in that sense. And then I have an academy as well as a product line that specializes in cutting lash artists time in half, as well as I provide tools to support lash artists making profit and having a very strong brand. So
Nice.
that's
I
what
love I love the fingerprint. When you rebranded, I was like, this is so gold. I love it. It is instantly like I know it's you. It's different. And it's simple. I always tell our students when we used to have this one assignment where they would have to create a logo, and it would always be like
a lot.
sparkly colors, a
Yeah,
lot different
yeah.
fonts. And so like I really like that you have, the logo and then the text and then the name is super simple. So I love that. Um
I definitely suggest anyone who's creating a brand to go the most clean, simplest route. When they're starting, you can always evolve over time. When you start, it's great to stick to simple.
yeah, that's so true. Some of the best logos are very, very simple. So
Exactly. Like, look at Nike. Nike, you know, they're going super far with that check mark. So, and it's just a check mark. So
yeah,
it's amazing what a branding can do for you, for
that
sure.
That's so
Did I
serious.
answer all your questions? So,
Yeah. Where are you located? Just let them know where you
yes.
are.
So I am located now in Tampa. My academy and studio is in Tampa. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, and in the midst of a pandemic that no one in this world has experienced, and now entering a recession, I decided to move my company to another country that I never lived in before. So I've done the unheard of things at the most hardest time of our society. So um,
Yeah.
now that I'm here and learning, there is also so many other huge benefits that I think a lot of lash artists or beauty professionals are missing, and they don't know that they
Yeah.
can maximize on outside of Instagram or outside of TikTok. So
Exactly.
they're missing out so many opportunities. But I'm here. I'm here. So we
So
can.
true. I love that. I'm glad that you saw that it was time to leave and you stepped out on faith and you pivoted because that is what business owners have to do all the time.
Yes, yes. It's I think a lot of people in our industry gets really comfortable with what they've seen and they want to kind of mimic it but make it a little bit different. I'm a person who just wants to do something that no one does.
Yeah.
So that's like my thing. And it's fun, doing things outside of the box. Yeah, it could be a little bit, scary because you don't know if people are going to be as receptive to it as, you hope. But when your message is so clear and you stand on it 10 toes deep,
Yeah.
okay, people are going to hear you. And I think a lot of people that are coming into industry right now, especially um, new lash artists that really want to grow a big brand, they are really focusing on speed more than every intricacy along the process. And I think if you want to last very long in this industry, you have to be very clear with what you stand on. And you also have to think about everyone else. It's not about you and being a boss. It's great to be a boss, but it's not fun being a boss. I
It's
know a lot of
not.
people want to make it seem like, it's luxurious. And, no one can tell me what to do, but I have to make sure I hold my end so everybody else on my team and their specialist wins too. Because
Yeah.
I promised everyone that you
Yeah.
can't start something and expect everybody to just be on it because you have this vision. It's not going to work that way. You
That's
really
so
have
true.
to make sure that what you said follows through. What you do is consistent, and how you carry your business is everything. And I know a lot of women now are mothers as well as single mothers, and it's exhausting. I'm not a mom, but I have a lot of individuals that are single moms in the beauty industry because it is a very lucrative business for single moms. I think it's phenomenal. I would tell any single mom, jump into beauty. It will help you tremendously. My mother was the first entrepreneur in her generation of family, and
Wow.
in the 80s, right? So when everybody was getting jobs in the 80s, my mom started her own company. That's how I learned business. She has been my mentor since I was like 11. But she's been my mentor, and this is why I'm so passionate about mentorship. I spend thousands a year on mentorship, things that people don't even see, and I don't
Yeah.
speak on it because it really doesn't benefit me telling you what it doesn't benefit. But I do this because I can't serve my team, the specialists that are here, and making sure clients and everything is concise if I have not educated myself on things that I'm not a master yet of, right? And I don't rush it. I like the process. You gotta enjoy the
Yeah.
process. The process is very painful. It's like putting salt on the wound when it's really rough. But when you think about, the good things in your day, like, okay, well, this client was really happy. Or, your specialist just made $300-400 right there because you just put money in their pocket. You know, like those are the reasons why you're doing it, and it always comes back to the purpose, which is to
Yes.
create trusted professional leaders. Right now, there's a lot of people getting into business for the hustle aspect, and that is where you're going to always struggle getting clientele. That approach is always daunting onto your progress.
Yeah.
I
It's
always
not something that's that you can basically like, it is not something that can be duplicated.
know.
It's not something that can be done for a long period of time. It's not, you can't build on that. It's
No.
always holes in the foundation because you just are so in tune with hustling that you never took time to actually make sure that there's processes and procedures to get
Yeah.
things done. So,
You know what's so
yeah.
funny? Since I moved here, because I'm learning the culture difference between Canada and the US in business, but there's little nuances that are different. And here, there's a shock of when clients come into our facility, there's a shock of professionalism. Like they just are
Yeah.
shocked with how professional our, our systems are. Everything is easy for our clients by a touch of a button. They never have to worry. They get rewarded all the time. We get tons of referrals based off of our systems that we put in place. I can't emphasize how systems is number one in your business, or you do not have a business. So
Exactly.
even as a lash artist at solo, you need systems. You need it. You should not be using paper and a pen. 2022,
No.
no more paper and pen for consent forms and all of that jazz. Like you do need to be more forward with your brand. You need to focus on what the consumer needs, not
Yeah.
what makes it easy for you only. It's also what the consumer likes and their
Yeah.
experience.
In their experience.
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah, their experience.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, let's go ahead and get into our topics. Oh, somebody asked,
yeah.
what systems would you recommend other than a booking site? I think she's speaking more of like an email funnel, having a system for collecting um, the consent form, your policies, how you
So
record,
um,
and go ahead.
I would say to you, okay, so it's not about recommendations. And I'm going to be honest with anyone who's listening to this. Whenever you ask somebody, what do you think is best? It's very hard for someone to tell you, do this, because there's certain features that each platform has. And if that platform does not have a feature that you need, it doesn't really help you. So you need to know exactly what you need for your business or for what you need for that system. And then you can find a platform that fits that. I hope that helps you out a little bit, not backwards. So I always, whenever I need something or a new staff or a new team member or another specialist or anyone else in the space, I always think about, write down what I need, right? And then I find a tool to help me with it instead
Yeah,
of looking for a tool to help me with all of it and I don't know what I need help with.
right, right.
So
I would
hopefully that.
say I would say, if anything, I can recommend making sure that you are using, either creating your own landing page to list out all of the services that you have, or doing like a milkshake, a link tree, and putting that in your bio, especially if you are doing trainings, have a mentorship, do products,
Mm-hmm.
um, a booking site. That's definitely a system that you can create and you don't have to touch again unless you're updating it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a link to for people to leave your review, and this is just a place where all of your links live. Or you can create a custom landing page on your website if you want to stay like super branded, and then put the main link in your bio, and that way when people click on your bio from your Instagram, they can see everything, and that is like a good system to have. But yeah, let's get into our topic, because I really want want to hear your story on how you got into, doing the brand and having your own lash line. I know, you've been training. I've been seeing you train, which her training guys are amazing. Like this girl's results from her trainings, like the way that your
Thank
students lash right after, you can tell that you really do take your time and walk them through step by step, and their attachment and the look that they're getting, the fullness, the coverage. Like your trainings has always been something that has caught my eye. So if you guys are interested, you should definitely look into all of the trainings that she offers, because it's just something about how neat and clean that her students, the work looks afterwards. So yeah,
you.
but let's get into the topic. What is just like your top 3 tips for people who are looking to start a lash brand? What would you recommend where they start? How does the manufacture process work? Testing and that type of stuff.
So how I started, to be honest, is being a lash artist first and testing out all of the top brands that are known. So I did that. I did the research part, but I did it on hand. So I got all the top brands at the time, and I used their adhesives or their top products. I bought their top products, the ones that they rave about, and then I tested them. And I tested them on every single lash type. What I meant by lash type, and not eye shape. Eye shape doesn't really matter with testing. It's more about the actual response of the client and their lash hair. So I tested it to see, and I've always noticed that there is always something missing. And that something was missing is that it didn't touch on women of color, and it also didn't touch on true care of the product and functionality. A lot of it was like marketing well, but the functionality wasn't mimicking the marketing. So I tested out products that way, and then at the time, we didn't have manufacturers send us DMs all the time, like now everybody's getting. But I had to go on Alibaba at the time, and Alibaba was not where it's at now. And I did my own research, and I spent a lot of money, wasted a lot of money, and a lot is an understatement, through my mistakes. And I've learned which countries are best for certain types of products. I've learned what product makes sense to sell first. I knew what products, about sizing. I've learned metrics within the lash product realm. I learned about the manufacturing payments. You don't necessarily have to pay everything up front. You can pay 30% up front or in 70% when you get it. There's also quality control. There's quality control in the factory, quality control when you receive it as well. There's also levels of sampling. Sampling's where all your money goes at first. And I sampled all of their top products. That's what I always ask, just to save me, time later on. So if you wanted to start with adhesives and then later on into lashes, at least you tested out their lashes and you're not paying double in shipping, because you do have to pay a lot for shipping. So I would always order all of their top, the highest selling products that they're selling wholesale, and to see there what they had. And I used to ask them questions, and if any time, it seemed sketchy, they weren't clear, they didn't answer my question exactly how I asked, I wouldn't work with them. If they didn't have any policies in place, I don't work with them. If they don't sign my contract, I don't work with them. You also need to have a contract on your own. You'd be amazed of what I already found out with many major brands in the industry today. If you only knew, right?
And it's like the manufacturers, they will name drop also. They'll be like, this is what this brand is using. We work with this brand and that brand. So the fact that you have them sign a contract, definitely probably for the confidentiality, is amazing. That's so smart.
Yeah, it's very important. You're also allowed to restrict them from using your graphics, and that's between the graphic designer and the actual manufacturer correspondence. But they will use your label, whatever you spend money on your labeling, They will use your label and market that label to the rest of the industry and use your label. They just won't show it to you, but they'll show it to other people. Unless you make it very clear that this is against what our contract is, and you have to protect yourself through the process. It's cool to create a product and you just sell things, because, you know, I'm learning here in America, that's what a lot of people are doing. They just sell anything, and it's cool. But if you want to have a reputable, strong brand that when you're 40 years old, you're not worrying about a dollar, don't do that. You want to make sure that you're investing in every single way, the right way. And you don't need to spend money on a graphic designer. Clear. You know, don't need to spend money on a graphic designer. You can do that yourself. Save thousands of dollars, and you can learn, because when you are delegating in the future, because you're going to be a big company, right? When you're delegating, you are able to be clear with your graphics, your team members of design, and tell them, I don't want this because I know the specs of this product and that product. So it comes with a lot of detail, but it's so rewarding. And that's just beginning, starting the Lash brand, right? Your own brand. Marketing it is different. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother entity. And I always say, before you start a product line, make sure you're really good at marketing to get clients first. Once you nail how to get clients, you know how to sell. So I do think working slow and focusing on one thing at a time is the most beneficial. It took me 10 years. Anyone that's really successful in the world, it takes them about 10 years to see, you know, some traction. And then there is a small percent that win the lottery of success in a short time. But if you want a reputable long-term brand, you need to take your time with it.
Oh my God, I love that. We have a question. Someone asked, what should the contract touch on?
So the contract should touch on who they're sharing it with within the time-year frame, like the time frame. And you will also want to make sure any non-disclosures. So you're not allowed to show anyone my labels, my designs, my specs. You're not allowed to share any of our other connections. So if you are using one manufacturer for design and they have another factory, because these factories are not just one factory and they do everything. They have like a print shop, they have a graphic designer, they have different people doing different things. So you have to be very clear with, I do not want your design aspect, my design, to be released. I don't want it to you to share my specs with any other company. But you need to be clear with dates, times, and duration, how long you're asking for. So you can't just say, like, I understand I'm not supposed to do this. It's not a consent form. It's literally a contract that you have to put in place. And it's a little hard to make sure that they stand on it because it's China. However, as long as you have something written, you can sue. So I always tell people to protect yourself no matter what.
Yeah. Okay, we have another question. Someone said, what are some of the questions you would ask these vendors?
Questions in terms of
I guess let's probably say that this is questions more about like what the products are, or that's really what I'm interested in. Like, what questions would you ask to make sure that they are quality control, they are doing things ethically, they are going to actually send you your stuff and not just scam you, like?
So to answer that question, for quality control, I always ask them for a video recording of how they go through their quality control process. So I know you're actually going to do it. For example, our tweezers, it's a family that owns the manufacturing company. That's a full family, and they do everything ethically because it's by hand. I see the videos, it's by hand. Then they also do testing. I ask them, they have to do 2 testing, and I need to do it in a female's hand and a male's hand. I know it sounds a little crazy, but that's what I require. And the reason why is because when they show you a video, they think they're smart by just sending you a different man's hand as a video to show like, oh, I'm proving to you that this is quality control, when it's really not. So I
Mm-hmm.
like to see a woman and I like to see a man doing it, so I know that they're testing it.
You make them pick up a lash?
Oh yeah, they do the actual fan testing at the factory. And then when I get it here, I do my own hand testing. So it gets triple tested. It's not just like, oh, we
Wow.
say it's hand tested. No, I'm very, very diligent. Because if someone's spending $50 or more dollars on one tweezer, it better work exactly like how they said it will work, right?
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I have that in place. And then when I get here, I do my own testing with every tweezer that goes out, because that's my high level of quality control. So
Yeah. And that's your brand reputation,
1000%.
Another thing that people don't understand is when you start selling products, people can come after you. People are going to
Mhm.
ask about how they use an adhesive. They don't feel like it doesn't work. There's a lot of more education that goes into having a brand, and returns, that type of stuff. So you have to it's so many components that
Many.
go into it.
And platforms too. Lots of platforms are using. It's not just one. And that's a whole nother entity of it too, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we got another question.
Oh, okay. I'm
Can
liking
you
that.
see success if you don't like marketing, and where did you learn marketing skills?
What was the first part of that question?
Can you see success if you don't like marketing, and where did you learn marketing skills?
So yes, I do success in people who don't like marketing, because there's a peer of mine in Canada and I could tell she doesn't have patience for marketing, and she posts the same type of video for every client, and she is extremely popular, extremely, right? That's her marketing. Marketing doesn't have to be super entertaining. You don't have to dance in front of a camera. You don't have to show how products work. You can talk if you don't want to be seen. You can do so many other ways, but it's still successful. You just need to find a marketing strategy where it aligns with what you can do that's sustainable, and it's still delivering the message you want.
Yeah.
Um, so some people that, lash artists, they would prefer to post their lash sets every day, and that's cool. Or like their day in a life, and it's cool, but those are not things that's gonna attract a client to you unless you make it special. So I tell the specialists here, there's something special about you that no one on this earth has. So we're gonna figure that out, and we're gonna make it a thing, because that's what marketing is. We're all special in our own way.
Yeah.
So that's how I would approach it. And then in terms of my marketing intelligence, I guess you could say, or where I learned it from, I actually went to school for advertising and photography. I dropped out because I refused to pay that money to learn something creatives can do on their own. So I
Yeah.
left that, but I did learn a lot of things that were important. With advertising, which is very important, color theory is huge. So this is where I address to all of the lash artists in my trainings. I said, as much as this is going to hurt you, if this is you, I'm going to be very honest. Do not do pink for your branding.
Yeah.
Tell them, I said, I'm going to tell you that now. You're going to regret it in about 5 years or 2. The reason why is because businesses don't copy other businesses. It's just not how business is, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a very distinctive brand that you're creating, where people can identify you no matter what, whether it be
Yeah.
through your work, whether it be through the way you market or the way your branding is. You need to be
Or
distinctive.
the logo.
Or the logo, right? So if your branding is not distinct because it's pink, like 5 million other lash artists, how are you going to be any different? The reason people are going to you, and the reason artist is beside the word lash, is because you're creating something new. You're creating something that's not there before. But if you're going to copy and paste, assuming that marketing strategy is going to work, it doesn't necessarily work all the time. So
Yeah.
like, think big, think different. I always tell people you will always do well when you're different.
That's so true. That's very
Yeah.
true. Oh, nice. Okay, we have a few more questions.
Do we?
Um, is there a specific person in the manufacturing company that you would speak to? A lot of times it's just a random rep taking your order.
So yes, it is always going to be a rep that's taking your order, but you have to develop a relationship. This is another thing. There's a way you have to speak to them. You cannot say, hey, how much is this? Never ever speak to them like that. One, they're human, so they're not a robot. Two, you're creating a business relationship, and this is how you're going to learn how to have business relationships. And business is based off of relationships. So if you don't approach it as in, I'm interested in looking at this for, and be very specific of what you're looking for, then you're not going to get the response back. They're going to treat you like any other lash, I guess you say, customer. But what they're going to do based off the judgment is your order. So whatever your quantity is, that's how much they're going to prioritize your order.
Yeah.
So the smaller the money you're spending, or the smaller your order, is the lower priority you're going to be at, unless you pay them extra for a speedy process. So, you know, everything connects to each other, and you have to make sure when you're speaking to your these manufacturers that you're very clear, and you're also asking them what is it that they what is it that they sell the most of, because there's no point in buying a lash tray from a manufacturer that is really successful in selling their adhesives, right?
Yes.
So like really see what works for them, because then you'll know what could or could not work for you.
Because you might end up having multiple manufacturers. This manufacturer is good at this. This manufacturer is good at this. This manufacturer is good at tweezers. It might not. You rarely do you see a manufacturer that can do everything that you like. But I do have a question. What is like a guesstimation that you could say that somebody needs to save up for that first initial investment in getting into doing their own lash brand?
I would say 3,000. 3,000 just to start. And that's with maybe max 2 products. I always tell people, don't do more than 2 products when you're starting. You don't even need to do 2, you could do 1, and really learn how to sell 1. When you learn how to sell 1 and it's doing well, then you're like, bam, then I know how to do the same thing and replicate it for the rest. So just 1 product, and or 2. And if it's adhesives or any liquids, you got to make sure that you're selling it really fast so it's not sitting. Because if it sits, not that your adhesive spoils, but the optimal usage will not be the same. It changes over time. So I always suggest...
It's a chemical.
Right?
Because it's a chemical.
Exactly. So, you know, you need to be aware of what you're doing before you do it. The profit is the reward of all the steps that you've done correctly, right? That's where the profit comes in. So when you are creating a brand, focus on doing it slow, because you'll be wasting a lot of money. And manufacturers still make mistakes by the time they send it to you too. You might say yes and okay, and through the videos and the sampling and the back and forth, which takes time. It takes about a month or 2 for back and forth of sampling. By the time they actually complete your order and you receive it, they still may make a mistake. And then what are you going to do, right? So as much communication as possible is so needed, down to your color. You should have your hex code. Don't just say I want pink. Don't just say I want blue. You need to be very detailed. You need to know the dimensions of each product.
Yeah, so you guys should be asking them, what are the specs? How do you need to have it? If you need to send your design vectorized, all that type of stuff, because it's another level. That's so true. Wow. This is great information. Let's see. One of our students, Ayana, asks, where do you find vendors besides Alibaba?
AliExpress.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
So AliExpress is more of like a B2B or even B2C, business to business or business to customer, depending on whatever you want. If you want to sample, you still get a sample. You still approach them like the way you do to the manufacturers on Alibaba.
Love that. Love it. Okay, last question, and I will let you go. When do you know it's the right time to open a storefront?
There is no right time. when you're opening a storefront, just know you're walking into problems for the rest of your life.
And a lot of overhead.
Yeah, it's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
But I make, you know, it's part of business, but you have to make your challenges fun, or you just can't be in business. Like the amount of challenges I did with today, you would have no clue. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's attitude, and you have to change it when you're dealing with these issues. But there's not a specific time. I do think it's smart to start a storefront when you've had some capital and you have done all of the necessary legalities first.
Trademark, registering with the
Yes.
state, like
Yes.
getting your LLC formed, got a business bank account, all that type of stuff.
All of that needs to be in place, as well as you need to make sure you have all of your like licensing and your permits and everything in order, and know how long everything is going to take, because there's a lot of hiccups along the way. And when you're starting with a storefront, there's no one that's going to tell you, oh, you should get this, or oh, the inspector is going to check a look at this, or you need to have that. You really
Right.
have to do your due diligence before you get into it, and then know what your overhead costs will be like, and see how you can cover that for the first 4 to 6 months cash, just in case things may not work out exactly how you want to the first 6 months. So sometimes it gets rough, but having a storefront is great. It depends on how you want to set up your business model in your storefront, right? What you're offering, what you're doing. If you're gonna have other lash artists, are you gonna have products? Is it gonna be a supply store?
You need a business plan. You need a business plan.
Yeah.
Somebody is asking LLC or S corp. I think that that's something that, you know, we're not lawyers, but I think that that's something you
Yes.
need to ask a CPA or a lawyer. Is based off of where you're at, how much money you're making, if you're going to have employees, how you want to file your taxes, and all that type of stuff. You can always change. It's never
Oh.
set in stone. If you start out as LLC, you can change to S corp, vice versa. So I would definitely consult with a CPA. And then someone asks, how much does rent run for a storefront in Tampa?
I will say it's not super expensive. I will say that. If you're asking me to compare it to Canada, it's nothing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, if you want me to say compared to Canada, you know, not a big deal. But if you are comparing within other states, I'm not too sure. But I will say that if you're a lash artist, depending on where you are, you could cover it. You'd be okay. If you really know how to, before you get a storefront, you need to make sure you know how to deal with making sales consistently, even when you don't have a client, right? So when you go up, just be prepared to go back a little bit, because sometimes there's hiccups and it doesn't come out exactly how you like at first. But
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
A good percentage for your storefront and overhead and that type of stuff, you really want things to be as lean as possible. So let's just say you're bringing in 10 grand a month. You really want to be all in on your expenses, cap like the maximum 30%. And even that is really, really high. If you could be at 15%, more profit for you.
Yes.
More profit for you. But, you know, that's just like an easy way to put it. If you can keep your overhead costs, and I mean everything. Overhead wise, at really 15 to 20% is the best way to do it. That's why, you know, you really want to know where your numbers are at before you start going out there signing contracts and stuff.
1000%, because it can get a little pricey. But having a business plan before you even look at storefronts is so important, because when you have your vision on paper, and then you write down how much it's going to cost for every aspect to get completed, then you have a real concept of your next venture in your business.
Right.
But it takes time. So you want to make sure you're not going to create a plan that's based off of like things that don't matter, like appearance. The appearance stuff is cool, you know, but you need to make sure, okay, how am I going to make money every day for the next 6 months? if this does not fall through the way I like to. You have to have other things in place, and you need to have a solid, I want to say team yet, because when you start, you don't have a team, right? But I will say you need to have a solid Rolodex of contacts. So throughout your career as a lash artist, you should be developing contacts, social media managers, accountants, lawyers, general contractors, someone to clean your windows, someone to clean your studio, you know, your utilities, your insurances, your refunds, anything that you need to keep that all accounted for, and to make sure that you keep afloat, and then you can focus on like making real profit. But this is just for those who are literally just touching the storefront world. Outside of that, marketing is going to be a lot for you, and that's what you're going to spend the majority of your time when you're starting out in a storefront, is marketing. Your life will be marketing.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are ways to have an idea what is going to include with a storefront.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what else do you have going on? Do you have like any products these our audience can take advantage of? Oh my God.
Yes. Next year is going to be a very intense year of greatness. And what I mean by this is we are coming out with new resources for lash artists. That's worked really well for me. The resources that's helped me get where I am, branding, marketing, you know, different things, and providing those other resources for them within our trainings. So we have our lash training right now for lash experts. So if you are a lash artist and you don't feel so confident in doing curly lashes, or troubleshooting, or your retention, or anything to deal with making your sets flawless and consistent, and your clients come back all the time, that's what you're going to learn. And it's not just skill. We touch on content, impactful content without doing too much. And we touch on so many aspects. So what makes this lash expert training so different than any other training is you get a 100-page detailed manual. Let me show you the manual. Give me 1 second.
Wow. It's the details. That's awesome. Lash style. We are actually talking about how to do a lash brand, but we have a live on how to charge yourself with KK Artistry. If you visit our lives and go back a few weeks, you can see that live about pricing.
Okay, so just a little sneak peek, because I think people don't believe me when I say it's like a 100-page manual. So this is a 100-page manual, okay? And let me try and go through it all, but we go into full detail of a lot. There's a lot of text. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot. It's a lot, and it keeps going. So this is a classic precision program that we have. If your classics do not look like volume, take our classic precision maxi program. I will make sure your sets look absolutely flawless every single time, and your sets will come out like that in the class too. We're not just doing one eye. You're going to do both, and they're going to come out perfect. And if it's not, you're going to stay there until it's done. That's just how I teach. But you get a 100-page manual. You get a platinum kit, which is our whole lash line. You also get a free refresher course. So if any time in the year you want to come back and get touched up on, you know, the training that you've learned by me, you pop into the class. You don't pay anything extra. You are a lifetime member of the Lash brand. So once you learn once, you can always pop into the same class for free. So you never have to worry about extra for refresher classes. You just pop back in whenever you want. As well as our program is a 2-day program, and we really dive into lash rehabilitation, because there's so much damage happening now that lash rehabilitation is going to be the new trend of marketing within the next 2 years, just letting you know. So if you don't know how to do lash rehabilitation and knowing all of the procedures for that, take the Expert Lash program in January, and we go in. I'm hands-on. You'll see through our reels how hands-on I am with my trainings. And then if you want to start your lash line, I have an ebook. And for all of the viewers right now, you get it 30% off if you
Oh my
want to get
God.
started.
Is there
So
a code for them?
no code, it's already there. So you're just gonna
Okay.
go into the link. It says start a lash line ebooks right there, and it's
That
30% off. And this is just a great way to have an idea of what you're going to need to do, what you're gonna need to start your lash line, and all of the steps. And next year is going to be a big, big year. Mentorship is growing for us. So right now I'm doing one-on-one, and I prefer one-on-one because I actually need to make sure you're making money. So
yeah.
I don't want to tell you information, and if I don't see you making money, we're going to work on that because I'm very, very diligent about what I say. So, if you are someone who wants one-on-one mentorship, I offer that. I only do so many a year because I'm very hands-on with your results. So you can take a mentorship with me, and it's one-on-one, and all your questions will be answered. Yes, volume is a mastery class. So if you want to learn Russian volume and how to make perfect fans easy, because I've learned the hard way, but there's so much easier way, and have perfect sets, the Volume Mastery program is it. You can take a look at our page and see all of our students' work. Majority of our page now is our students' work. It's not
Wow. That's so
my work, or
awesome.
it's actually our students' work in class. So I don't post any of their work outside of class, really. I'll post it on our stories, but anything on our reels or anything you see is exactly what they did in 48 hours. So when people say that, oh, you can't do something in a certain amount of time, you can if you're taught exactly how to do it, right?
Mhm.
And that's how you can make money faster if you're taught right.
Yeah.
But if you're not taught right, yeah. But all of the good stuff, you can get that in the link in our bio. And if you have any questions, you can always
Yeah.
DM me. I'm super personal, guys. I don't bite. I don't
I
bite.
love that. No, you need to come to Dallas. You need to do your training. Oh my God.
Yes. So, girl, there's only one of me.
I know. I
So,
know.
I will be coming to Dallas. I do have plans to come to Dallas next year, spring. We're gonna
Okay.
work on it. I'm really trying not to push it any further, but and I wanted to do maybe a dual class, like a classic volume, because I'm
Yeah.
traveling. Just so that you can understand all of the concepts, and you have me there, right? So you might as well milk all the information out of me. So
Right. Right. I
definitely
love
interested in
that.
doing that for sure.
Whatever we can do to help. We're really good with email funnels.
Okay.
We have a texting thing that we do. Like
Okay.
whatever we can do to help, and we're really good about like getting information out far in advance. Like even with our cohorts, we start marketing our cohorts like 10 to 8 weeks in advance. We
Okay.
don't do anything like super last minute. So
Great.
if you want to start talking about it in January, I'm happy to like what if you email me the copy, we'll get it out for you.
Okay, because I know there's so many individuals who want to get into my training, and because they're from Texas, I'm in Florida, it's hard. They're single moms, they're trying to do certain things. It's hard. So I definitely would love to be there and have you host, and
Yeah.
make this into a huge event, because listen, there's so many individuals out there that can be great, and it frustrates me. My true passion is really to make people money. And the
Mhm.
reason why I say that, there's a lot of people talking about, oh, I can make you successful, but they just give you tips, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually wanting you to make money. Like, let me see your Shopify notifications.
Yeah.
Let's see, whatever you're making. We need to know that you're actually being profitable in what you're doing every day. That's my true passion. So when I am training these students, I don't train them because you paid and you get a certificate either way. There's a lot of students who didn't get a certificate from me, and it's been about 8 years now that I've been was teaching. A lot of students who are not happy because they haven't completed the set and they refuse to complete the set in order to get a certificate. And I said, well, here's the thing. I give you the certificate and you can't do the set. The certificate means nothing.
Yeah.
But I want you to be great. And the people who care for you are going to push you to be great.
Yeah.
They're not going to just say, here and go, thank you for paying. You know, I actually care. And this is the reason why my students are doing super well now in Canada and here in the US. So my high standards has definitely helped other lash artists have high standards for themselves. And that's the reason why they're being very, very successful in their field.
That's what it's all about. We are
right.
all trying to like raise the bar and hold everybody accountable. So I love that.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard, but for sure it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Well, yeah, whatever we can do to support you,
Love it.
I'm down. Just send it over to us. We'll reconnect, especially about the brand guide that I was telling you. I'll have Eloisa send all that stuff over. We should definitely do another live next month.
Love to.
So I'll send you the link.
We will do it. Yes.
Because it seems like people are very interested in you and your story, which I love. You know, as women of color, we definitely have to show up like this in more spaces, because I feel like Black women spend a lot of money on lashes, and there's so many people
are the #1 consumer in the beauty industry.
Yeah, period. Exactly.
Okay, so we don't cheap out on ourselves. It's just we need to have, Lord Jesus, we need to have the bar higher so that they feel valuable enough to continue. You know, no more $100 sets over here.
Yeah. Gone are those days. Gone are those days.
100%. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for spending your evening with us, girl. Like, I really appreciate it. I know we got off to a rocky start, but thank you so much. Let's do this again. We'll save this live, guys, and we will upload it onto YouTube. And you guys make sure to go get that ebook if you're interested in starting your own lash brand. And go to Tampa and train with her. It's nothing but a trip, a write-off, especially if you're super serious. And it's 100%. It sounds like there is 100% money back guarantee because you get to do the refresher course. So what are you waiting on?
Free. Exactly.
Yeah, you just gotta get there. That's all. You just gotta get there. I love that. Of course. All right, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.